Welcome to Alcohol-Free Superpowers, the podcast for those questioning the role of alcohol in their lives and choosing clarity over conditioning. I'm your host, Jennifer Reed. We're talking truth, transformation, and what really takes to reclaim your power. Let's dive in.
Thank you for being with me today, Kat. I'd love to hear. You have quite a few years of not drinking under your belt.
Crazy.
So it seems like you started at a pretty young age quitting, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I was really young. It's wild thinking back on.
When was your first drink, or when was alcohol introduced into your life?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so my dad has been sober my whole life, and my mom has not. But my mom is not a problem drinker, but my dad was. So he's been sober my whole life, and so my parents were really strict on, not drinking. And because of, I don't know if it was because of that or if it was also just that I am me and I wanted to. I snuck booze around 14. Yeah, I think I was 14. Drank pretty consistently until, and I was like always getting in trouble, like always grounded, always getting my car taken away. The whole, sneaking out, the high school boys, the like sneaking out on school nights to hang out with the 19-year-olds to drink wine in their car, just that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like light drug use, but nothing crazy. So I'm from a really small town in Oregon. And so I did all of that there. And then I went to school in Hawaii. So I went to school on the Big Island. And then it was like Pandora's box was just wide open. I could finally do whatever I wanted. It was like, my dream. About a year and a half of me pretty heavily drinking, doing some other drugs, but, mostly like, just the smoking weed and all of that. And because, in Hawaii, like weed is so culturally kind of accepted, like everyone is a stoner basically. So I was kind of more on that route, but I was still drinking like heavily. And there I was not interested in school at all. Like, I was going, but I wasn't, and I was just getting by, and it was just like thing after thing, and just night after night of me blacking out, doing the craziest, most ridiculous things I don't remember, making an absolute fool of myself, and slowly just my friends getting sick of me and my shit,
Okay.
And so I was there until I was, so about a year and a half. And then I was like, I need to do something different. Like I need to relocate basically. And I wasn't doing well in school. So I had no interest in going to school. So I actually went to a nonprofit. One of my friends back home, she was in a nonprofit Christian organization on Oahu. So different island. I was on the Big Island, and I moved to Oahu. And I was a part of this Christian organization, and it was great. I loved it. It was amazing. But the deal was you couldn't drink there because it was like a Christian organization, blah, blah, blah. And so I didn't. I basically didn't drink for a couple years. I did like this around the world trip with another program. And when I decided, because that was like a nonprofit, so I wasn't getting paid. So when I decided, okay, look, I'm like 22. I don't have a degree. I was like, I need to make money and kind of like move on with my life a little bit in some sort of financial aspect. And so I moved to the North Shore, left the organization. And that was when I was like, okay, let's see if I can not drink and not overdo it. I was like, this is kind of like my last chance of like, let's see if I can drink normally, because I was so obsessed with the thought of how can I drink normally? And I never could. And slowly but surely, because I would have like these rules. I was like, don't drink alone. Don't drink by, like don't black out. Don't get too drunk. Don't, like all these things. And I was actually going through a breakup at the time. So I was like, don't go to drinking over this breakup. And I did. Just slowly but surely, it kind of crept back into my life. And I was dating somebody else who wasn't good for me. And I just went down this really dark path basically that lasted about 8 months. And during that time I actually met my current husband. He came over from Australia to Hawaii, and he stayed at the house I was living with. So he met me when I was basically like at the beginning of my downfall, and I kind of hid how bad I was. Yeah, it was really interesting. We actually drank together. We got these like beers, and we did a hike, and I just remember being like, don't show him that you're crazy. Like, don't don't fall down this hill because I drank a bottle of wine, you know, like keep it together. And but he's like amazing. He's great. And he's very like chill, and he's still new, you know? Anyways, so fast forward, like we met, he went home, we stayed in touch, but not really. And 8 months later, I was still doing the same thing. I like still had my job. Everything was like still intact. My life wasn't completely falling apart, but it was getting pretty bad emotionally, mentally, you know, just like that desperation and me trying to quit on my own so many times. I just could not do it. I remember like looking in the mirror each morning and being like, don't get the vodka, like don't drink, like don't do it, you know? And then like not long after I would, you know? So I was pretty heavily, I was drinking a lot, and it was hard too, because like none of my friends, like a lot of my friends did know how bad it was, but then a lot of didn't, because I still had like a lot of my friends at this point were like either from the Christian organization or just like normal great people. So I was doing like a lot of my drinking and hiding, and then like showing up to events or just that kind of thing. And I remember one of my best friends, she was visiting, and she saw me in my mirror, and we were like my full length mirror, and we were about to go to the beach. And I just like went in my thing and I like took a shot of vodka, and she saw me and she's like, did you just take a shot? And I was like, oh my God, like busted, you know? I was like, no. Anyways, and so yeah, that's basically was like the turning point. I was just like so desperate. My brother has actually been in sobriety and been in the rooms and, you know, recovery for, to be honest, it's been a long time. So I think 14 to 15 years.
So longer than you have, right?
Yes. Okay. So I think he was like maybe 15 years at this point. Or sorry, 5 years, about 5 years.
Okay.
And I went to him. I was like, what do I do? You know, and he was like, yep, go to a meeting. You'll be okay. Like, because I was really desperate. And before this point, I just hadn't fully surrendered and fully decided like, this is the time, because I was 23 and I thought, oh my God, I'm never going to drink again. What is my life going to be? I'm going to be boring. And like, I love to party. Like I love to have a good time. Like I love chatting with people. Like I love this podcast. You know what I mean? Like I really like relating to people. And so I thought like, oh my gosh, this is my life is over. And so I finally was like, no, like this isn't going to end well for me. I have so much more to offer this world. Like I need to do something about it. And my parents had given me the talk a couple times, and you know, it was pretty obvious. And my brother, he at this point was working. He's always worked in recovery since he got sober. His was a more intense situation than what I got to. So he like detoxed, and anyways, it was a bit heavier. So he's always like stayed in and worked in recovery. And so I called him, and he's like, yep, there's a meeting. Like he looked it up for me, because I was like, I don't even know how to read the website. What is going on? It's confusing. And he's like, look, there's a girls' meeting. Go to it tonight. And I brought my two friends. One was a roommate and one was another one, and they were super supportive. And I was like, you guys, actually, no, sorry. It was a Sunday, and I called my parents and I was like, I'm going to a meeting. They were like, sweet. And I showed up, and it was like all these dudes outside smoking cigarettes. And I was like, nah, I'm going to the women's meeting. So I remember it fully. And so then I came back and I went to the women's meeting. And on the way there, I had my last bottle of warm wine in my car, under my car seat. Like it was the pink, I don't know, the sugar horrendous wine that I would drink. And I went, and I still remember it was like 5 o'clock. So like, you know, the sun was coming through, and I just remember like coming down and being like, oh my gosh, I need to drink, you know, like I was like, I need it. And this one gal, she was like, I just went up to her, because I knew, I was like, if I don't get help, like if I don't ask someone to help me right now, I'm just going to go back out. And I asked this girl, I was like, can you please help me? She all tatted up, looked super edgy, but she was gorgeous. And I was like, oh, you've been around, you know? And so I was like, will you help me? And she was like, she's like, well, let's start the steps right now. I was like, okay. And yeah, it was crazy. She was like, 1, are you powerless over alcohol? And has your life become unmanageable? I was like, yes. She's like, 2, and went down them. I was like, yeah. And she's like, don't waste my time. Do you need to go to the next meeting? And I was like, no, I'll be okay. And I went home and I didn't drink, and I never drank again. And it was the craziest thing. Like, I'm surprised too with the amount that I was drinking that I didn't really detox. I don't know. Like, thinking back, like, I should have been in a lot of hurt, and I wasn't. And I just remember the clearest day, I used to like wake up because the sun, we had birds and chickens outside living in Hawaii. And every morning when I would hear them, I would just be, before this, I would be so depressed and like dreaded another day. And this was the first time I was like, I can do this, like I felt hope. I felt lighter. I just felt like something had lifted and changed. It was actually really crazy. And yeah, and then I kind of just went from there. So I was 23 and never went back. So it was great.
Yeah, that's
Sorry,
impressive.
that's a very like long version. It was very interesting because my brother had to do so many rehabs. And I just like stayed very close to AA, stayed very close to my people in sobriety. I became like a secretary or whatever at like 6 months. They like let me do it. My path has changed a lot since then, just a heads up. But yeah, I stayed very, very close. And it definitely, being around the people, working a program, doing all of that in that, because it was a very small town. So like I personally had to tell a lot of people what I had done, because if not, I would have just kept drinking. Like I knew that. Like I would drink. I was a surf instructor, so I would drink with my boss after work, like just that kind of stuff. So I had to be like, I'm sober, which a lot of people say don't tell like everyone straight away because the stigma and all of that. But I basically had to, because if I drank with a lot of people, so it was hard at first, but I just, after like 60, 90 days, I was like, oh, this is great. Like, I don't want to drink. And kind of, I started early, very early on. And I would say that's like one of the number one things that has kept me sober this long, and, all of that is honestly just playing the tape through and like looking in the future of like, yeah, I might feel like great for like a second, like that, the relief.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, oh man, like after that, I would just be just what the night would turn into, and the next day, and like getting my car towed and parking in places I shouldn't park, and then waking up, dude, where's my car? Like it was just the stuff I got into was just not cool, and yeah, I just played the tape through, and I was like, and I think I was like, also is definitely God 100%. It was my ego for sure of like, I'm not going to come back with 0 days, like I'm going to prove to these people that a young girl on Oahu can do it, and just that I was like, I can't go back. But a big part of it as well was I was like relapsing so much on my own before going to the program. I thought, if I start that while I'm here, what's going to stop me? Basically, that was like my little thought. And it worked, because I saw so many people just like in and out, in and out, in and out. And I was like, I don't know, like they just, yeah. So I thought maybe that'll just help.
Your brother went in and out too, right?
Yes, he did. And it was really good to like learn from that, and like, kind of, yeah, that was a situation.
He's older than you, I assume, right?
Yeah, he's 2 years older. So I'm 33 and he's 35. Yeah.
So he must have done some inpatient rehab, right? If he'd gone in and out, I'm just guessing.
To be honest, it was so long ago. My parents, they did like a wilderness thing when he was super young, and then that kind of like backfired, and then he moved to California, and then he started doing heroin, and it was just, and then we cut him off, and then yeah, and then he was in Portland, and it was just a situation. We didn't know where he was for like a year. And then he actually got sober. He was like going in and out of rehabs. I think they were inpatient, but he would like always get kicked out. And then he actually finally called a friend from the rehab that he did in Samoa. My parents sent him to Samoa anyways. And And he got sober on that guy's couch in Arizona.
Oh.
And it worked. Yeah.
And so did he do AA as well?
Yeah. So, yep. So then he's stayed in AA and he's done all of that. And all of the rehabs basically would point to AA. So then his wife now is also, they same story, same sobriety time, and she worked at a different rehab and then they met. So yeah, they're a little
cool.
sober couple. And my husband's sober, but he's well, he doesn't drink, but he doesn't have a problem. He just doesn't drink to support me. So I think he hasn't drank for 6 years now. It's crazy.
That is
crazy, but it was amazing. He stopped because then so I got sober, and then he moved to Hawaii. We got together essentially, and but I stayed. We were separate, anyways, and for about a year, because I wanted to get sober and like work on myself, and he was going through some other things, and so after about a year, it was very sweet. He actually sent me like a gift for my like 1 year sober, and I went skydiving, and it was a big deal. It was great, and then so very supportive. And then we got together. We moved to Miami because then I became a flight attendant at year 2. So that was crazy. Then jumping into like the most alcohol saturated industry. And that is actually where I couldn't go to as many meetings because I was gone all the time. And I would go to meetings in Miami, but, and then we got married shortly after. But yeah, it was a whirlwind. And that's when I actually started the Sober Skies, my Instagram page that I am now revamping. Yes.
Okay.
So I was kind of like a way that I could give back, help people stay sober, traveling. But then just over time, I was like, it was a lot, and we were traveling lots, and I was like, it wasn't the time and the season I felt like it was all a bit not heavy, but I don't know. I felt like it was just a bit heavy, and I thought I was busy, and now that I have kids, I realize I was not that busy. So anyways, I just feel like it's a good time to kind of come back, kind of in the last 5 years, kind of changed a bit, and realized what's worked for me and what hasn't, and things have kind of shifted. So yeah.
Cool. Now, so what do you want to do with your page, or what do you want?
Oh my goodness. What do I want to do with my page? Great question. Okay, so basically what's happened over the last bit of time is, when I had my daughter, I stopped going to AA after a bit because I loved it in Hawaii. Mm-hmm. Miami was great, but I had on the Sunshine Coast, to be honest, it's just a lot different here. And I felt like, this sounds bad. And I know that if someone's in the rooms hearing me, they'll probably think I'm not on a good page, but I am. I'm great. My dad has stayed sober for 30 years and he went to one meeting, So I just also am more open-minded to know that there's different paths for different people.
Right.
And that you can still be working your own sort of healthy program and like being in touch with God and your higher power and still trying to work with other people without going to meetings all the time. So basically what happened was my sponsor was like a guru, and it was just too much for me. And I always felt, and I just had my daughter, she was 3 months, always screaming. I was taking her to all these meetings, and I just felt that it was taking away from my life, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know really how else to say that except say that, like, I just felt like it was like this negative pull that I just wasn't. And the message was always, like, I'm not doing enough. Like, I'm this terrible person that needs to be, and I know that I get the other side of the message. Like, I get the point of it. Yeah. But at that point in my life, I was just like, man, I have to take a break. It was never like, I'm never going back again or anything like that. It was just, I just needed to shift for a little bit. And after I did shift for a little bit, I've just felt amazing. And I feel like I'm useful and like I have power and that I can actually help other people. I don't know if that's just my journey. So
I get it.
Yeah. So sorry. Now my whole point with this page was before it was like very like recovery, like go to a meeting, like you need to do these things. And it was very much like the inside of AA mind, which is fine. Like I still have a lot of friends there. My brother and sister-in-law are like, that's great, and I literally attribute my life to AA. Like there's no me bashing on it at all. I do not want that to be the message here. But you know, I do believe that one alcoholic can help another alcoholic in different ways. And I also think too, like if I can just help sober moms, you know, people that aren't even necessarily alcoholic, but that have a bad relationship with drinking, just to get off the wine and be present with their children and their family. And, you know, I've just learned so much over the years, and coming up on 10 years, to be honest, I almost have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. So the last 3 years I've been in the trenches, and now I'm like, okay, I can breathe. I need to be doing something again to help be really investing and sewing into other people and giving back in that sense. And I do have so much. I have so much experience and knowledge and wisdom in this light to share with people. And I was honestly very convicted that I have been so drowned in my own life, which it happens. Like, you know, you have kids, what do you do about it? You know, but now I'm like, okay, I have the capacity to do something. So yeah, I just want to show moms and other people that there is, like, my life got so much better without alcohol, not worse. Like, that is just the bottom line. Like, there's not one day that I'm like, oh, I want to drink. Like, no, which like is normal, but I don't think, to be honest, which is an actual miracle. And I tell people this all the time, because it's not normal. Like, it's normal for alcoholics to want to drink. Like, it is. It's just normal. It's normal to like have to push through these hard times. And I just had an amazing experience where I just never wanted to go back. Like, I never, like, I'll be out a party, or like, you know, it is who you hang around. So no, I don't like party anymore, but like I'll be at a wedding or a place, and like I went to my best friend's wedding and we danced all freaking night sober, you know? And I just want to break the stigma that like you have to drink to feel better, to cope. Like, you know, just like you're so much more present when you're not numbing. Like, that is like basically the bottom line that I want people to know. And that life does not get boring. It gets so enriched and so fulfilled and just amazing. Like, I have like, if someone would have told me that I was going to marry an Aussie, be a stay-at-home mom, have two beautiful, perfect children, like, boom, sorted, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just because 10 years ago, I decided to stop drinking, you know?
No, that's good. Do you think that there's more pressure to drink in Australia or the US?
That's a really good question. So I would just say both. Like, a lot of people are like, oh man, when they find out that I live in Australia, they're like, oh, Aussies love to party. And like, they do. Like, Australia Day, everyone gets lit. Like, it's a vibe. But like, my family, like my husband, like all of them, no one that I really am around are heavy drinkers. Like, when I was in Hawaii and like leaving that scene and that area, like that was hard because my community were heavy drinkers, you know, and I was young, and like that was like the thing. Whereas like here, everyone I know supports me and knows that I'm sober. And now I'm friends with a bunch of amazing moms that like, no one's a heavy drinker. Like, I'm just not around it. So like, to me, I'm like, oh no, it's way worse back home. I also just think there's more people in America. So I think that the problem there is different. And I think that the drug situation may be more. So, but no, there's definitely places here like Sydney. Like, we're not in a big city either. We're on the Sunshine Coast. So it's very like coastal. Everyone gets up early, very like active lifestyle vibes. Whereas like in the cities, people party for sure. And people party here on the coast too. It's just like a different kind of like more small town-ish early nights vibe. So I guess I'm kind of like biased to like where you are. It's kind of like what you experience, sort of thing. Oh, and the other thing, which I literally am always double fisting because I love having a drink, doing anything. Like, it's so funny. I go to my in-laws and I always bring my iced coffee. Like, I just love iced coffee. Two, I don't know, you just feel better. Like, I love having a drink. So anyways, it's not, but I personally don't drink mocktails, but that's a whole nother rant for another day. But I just don't like paying $18 for juice and to look like I'm blending in and to try to like be a part of it. It's like, I quit drinking to quit drinking, you know, and that's my story. And I'm not going to like try to pretend. Like, that was basically anyways, that's my rant. But mocktails are great. Like, for people starting out that do want to blend in, that don't have an actual problem with the alcohol taste. and that like having, you know, want an alternative to that, like they're great. They're 100% for a lot of people. So like I don't hate all mocktails for other people. They're just not for me. That's my take on mocktails.
I do find it impressive that you never had cravings after the fact.
Oh,
That's
it was
good.
honestly like and that's where I'm like, okay, like I've been through a lot of different like God times in my life. You know, like I didn't grow up in the church. I found God when I was 19 at this Christian organization. Like I saw a miracle, like an actual miracle, which was crazy. So then and then it was just kind of that. And then okay, I'll just explain this really quick because it actually was incredible. I was at church one night when I was doing really bad. I wasn't going to church anymore. And I was literally just like, I drank and I went to church and I was so pissed off because I was like worshiping in church and I was drunk and I was pissed. I was like, this is not, I was like, no, I can't be here. Like, this is not cool. And so I went to my friends who like, we all lived like right there. And I had my vodka and I was like laying on my back on the couch and I was kicking my legs and my arms like a cockroach because I was drunk. And I was like, God, if you're real, like basically like do something. Like I'm finally ready because to be honest, a lot of it was like, I didn't want to make my parents send me to rehab. Like they spent so much on my brother. Like they sent him to Samoa. Like, you know, it was, they refinanced their house to do all of this for him. I was like, I can't do that to them. But like I also can't keep like I just wasn't ready. And at that point I was finally like, I will do whatever it takes now. Like I will basically go to any lengths. And so I was like saying this to God and I was drunk. And then the next day, it was like something shifted in that moment. Like literally it was like God was like, okay, are you ready? Cool. Like since you're finally now here, like I will help you and take this from you, basically. And like I know that sounds crazy, or you know, I know that everyone has such different like experiences. And then the next day, that's when I was like shaking and I called my brother. And then basically that kind of happened like that same morning when I had hope. I was just like, I'm not going to drink again. And I would say the couple times that I had like proper cravings afterwards was I think, okay, so I got sober June. Oh, and I also had a really cool sobriety date. So it's 6/16/16. And I remember like writing it down and I was like, oh, and I like looked it up and it was like, because I was like, ooh, 666, that's bad. And then I looked it up and it was something like, oh, this is like it was something about like changing your ways. And like this is like breaking old habits and changing your ways is this date. And I was like, okay, like I can't. And that was also the thing. I was like, I can't go back on this really cool sobriety date. So but yeah, so it was June. And then I went somewhere on the 4th of July. And the 4th, I went to the place where everyone was partying. Do not recommend. Everyone was getting absolutely hammered at the beach. Everyone would go to this bay and the whole beach got hammered. And I was just like, oh, this sucks. I want to drink. So I left. I went to a different place with my sober friends. We had a great rest of the night. That was like the one time that I was like, oof, I really want to go to that end of the beach because there's like families on this end, everyone getting hammered on that end. And I was like, I'm the sad kid on like the other end. And I would say that was probably the strongest point of me wanting to drink because then when I went and moved to Hawaii and started flying, a lot of like in flight attendant school and then when I was flying, like I served alcohol. It was pretty crazy. Like I would and you'd be up in the front like, you know, pouring the wine and like I think I had a lot of like sobering moments of like kind of felt like I had like a gun in my hand kind of thing, you know? Like it was like this is real. Like I could just shoot this back and my life would be over, you know? But I was never like, ooh, I want to like drink this. I wasn't like, oh, I want to go in the bathroom. It was just me being very aware of how pivotal the situation and like in you know how intense that situation could be, like life-changing kind of thing. But yeah, I just think I was so much happier because I know that a lot of people they go through a really rigorous process after getting sober, which is very normal, of like learning to like cope with your emotions and like you know it's like you're numbing for a reason. Like most people are numbing because something isn't great, like you know you're masking whatever that is. And I had a really good life and I didn't really have that much emotional baggage or nothing really happened to me. So like I wasn't traumatized by anything. Like I was pretty good and happy normally. So I just liked getting fucked up to get fucked up. Like I just liked it better, you know?
Yeah.
And so I wasn't really like, once that was gone, it was just kind of like, which isn't common. I don't want this to sound like, you know, some like rare fairy tale, but it kind of isn't normal. But like it was just kind of like all my problems are gone. Like I just had to learn to live without this substance to like make things better kind of thing, like make each experience better kind of. But it was just a lie because it just made everything worse. Like, and once I stopped, and once I stopped and I really figured that out, like I lived it for a little bit, I was like, oh, this is so much better. Like I do not need to be like, one of my best friends who I would drink with, we would always go out on his boat and we'd go and we'd get so messed up. And I went out afterwards and I was like, oh, I'm not like bruised all over the place because I fell. I could actually fish. Like I could actually go and fish, you know, and like catch fish because I was sober. Like just there were so many things that I was like, oh, this is actually way better that like only experience could do. But like I said, that is coming from a privileged place of not really, like I was very lucky that I have had a very good life. So you know, I don't know if that makes sense. Like a lot of people, it's like they don't, and then they go to this. I would say probably the biggest thing was going through. It wasn't. I mean, it was hard going through everything with my brother at such a young age. Like I just kind of, because then I was an only child. My parents sent him away. I was copping flack at school for it. Like being a teenage girl is always hard for sure. But like overall, like my parents are amazing. We had a great childhood. You know, like nothing, I was never abused or anything like that. Like I always had friends and family who loved and they cared and supported me. So like overall, nothing drove me to drink. But I will say the alcoholic gene is very strong. And, you know, my parents were both like, don't drink, don't drink. You have it on both sides of your family. Don't drink. And I was like, ooh, I'm gonna test this out, you know? And sure enough, I don't think I ever drank normally. Like even from like the first time of drinking, like it was drink to get drunk, drink to black out. And once I had that first, I couldn't stop. Like the obsession would just, the physical craving and the mental obsession. And to be honest, once I quit drinking, I was like, oh, I felt this free time because I'm not scheming and planning how I'm going to drink and get my next drink, like, you know, and like the whole full-time job of just drinking, like, oh, it's terrible. So that's what I mean when like, I might have had some physical cravings early on, but like the actual like, oh, like thinking about it later on or anything like that, I was just like, man, I do not want to go back there. That sounds terrible. Like, right. So I would say, you know, like if I was only really surrounded, there were times definitely over the years, like my flight attendant training in school, like we were all in Dallas in a hotel room. Everyone was young. I was 26. Everyone was younger than me and everyone was going out and getting messed up, you know? And I was like, oh, that's lame, you know? But like at the same time, I was like, no, I'm here to do a job. I'm here to crush it in this and become a flight attendant. I'm not here to like mess around with these Muppets, you know? And I killed it. And I'm a terrible student and I freaking killed it. And I would say I like the one thing about sobriety that I feel like that it's taught me is like, you can really do anything. Like you can, like this is crazy. Within my first year, I was like, I'm going to become a mortgage broker. And I'm the least, my husband's in finance. Looking back, I'm the least like financial, like that kind of brain with that. But I was like, no, I'm going to do it. I'm sick of being poor in Hawaii. Like I'm going to make a lot of money. And I did. And I failed my first test, failed my second test, and I passed my third test. And then I was like, oh my God, I can do anything. And then I smashed flight attendant school. Like you just realize that you're so much more capable than you think you are once you're sober of basically anything. It's so amazing. You're like, if I can do that, you're like, this is a piece pie. Like, like what do I?
That's so true.
You know, can put your head to anything. And after I had my daughter, I actually started doing like a UGC online thing because my husband was working and I kind of wanted to get back to something, but I couldn't really go back to flying because I was way more full time. And I started doing like UGC ads, like videos, user generated content. So it's ads. Like, you know, when the person pops up and they're like, you're sleeping on this lip gloss. This is what you need to do. And it looks like it's a user. It's not, it's an ad. And I started doing that and I did really well for a bit. But then with my daughter, I was like, I just want to focus on her. But it was really cool. Like I'd never talked to the camera before. I had never done anything like that. And then I just was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And I did. So it's, awesome. I don't know. It's cool. It's cool what you realize that you're capable of.
So do you want people to reach out to you and work with you? Is that?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Like I'm still totally here. I want to do the steps. Like I have still been doing the steps and all of that. And I want people, I want to help people in kind of whatever capacity. Like I'm trying with this whole new thing. I'm trying to not be rigid and I'm trying to not have like not crazy. I don't want to say that they're crazy. I don't want to have like lots of rules. Like I kind of just want to like meet people where they're at and help them there, and not follow like a strict, like you need to be doing this, and this, or else I'm not going to help you kind of thing. It's like, I just want to meet people because that's when I found the biggest disconnect before was like, I did have a lot of judgment. Like I did have judgment and I did have rules and I did have like, I don't know, boundaries, which I think that some boundaries are really good and in a good place. But I know that everyone has a different path for a reason. And I've just become a little bit more open-minded to that. And I think that that's helped me just like see people and kind of meet them where they're at in that. So like, I totally do want to work the steps with people if that's what they want, or I'm just happy to be alongside of them as like a sober sister and someone that just has experience in that. And yeah, to be honest, I will tell you exactly where my thoughts kind of came with this. So I was brainstorming. I kind of went through like a identity crisis, like over Christmas. And I was like, what do I want to, this is where I was like, I really need to be helping people. I was convicted. I was like, but what do I want to do? Is social media for me? Is this like, how can I move forward? I'm not going to write a book. I'm really bad at like, I'm not going to do that. But I was like, it'd be so cool someday. One, a podcast would be amazing in the future because I love talking to people. And I think that so many, just like what you're doing, like so many people have so many different avenues and things to share and their experiences. Yeah. And I think bringing those to light is so powerful. So I was like, oh, that's something cool to brainstorm on. And then two, the Sunshine Coast, we have no other sober communities outside of AA. Like there's no, and I follow a couple girls here that are sober, but like there's no like sober girls meetups. There's nothing like that. So I really would love to get like in-person sober girl meetups here. But I just thought, okay, why don't I just start slow, start my page back up, rebrand, whole new life, whole new me, and just kind of go from there. So it's still very like early on and whatnot. So I'm just trying to like get my footing, get back into it a little bit. And like, hopefully, 6 months, 3 to 6 months down the road, do a couple meetups, maybe a year from now. Cool. I was chatting with another girl who just started doing a podcast. And because I've always heard podcasting is like a lot more intense maybe than it is. Like, I know that there is a lot involved, but she was like, oh, no, it's awesome. Like, yeah, there is some involved. Get an editor. You can do it on Riverside, like that kind of thing. So I was like, oh, maybe, why not? So anyways, that's just kind of where I'm at.
So if people want to work with you, Instagram is where they find you. Do you have a website or any other?
Yes. Platforms? No, I'm just on I'm on Instagram and TikTok. So Sober with Kat is both for those. Okay. And yeah, just like, I don't have a website yet. I had a website and I just deleted it because it was more of a blog from years ago. So yeah, I'm trying to, it was interesting. Like when I kind of restarted again, I was like, look, what are my goals? What are my honest goals? And right now, like monetization wasn't a part of that. Like I'm not selling any ebooks. I'm not doing any courses. I'm not there yet, nor do I know if I'm going to be, if like that, if it gets to that point, like, amazing, but that wasn't my main purpose, yeah, I just have, I don't have heaps of time to kill, but I just thought, look, I'll start small. Maybe, if I get there, because I know that I do have a lot to value that, but right now I'm not selling any like one-on-one, like work with me courses or whatever, but I would love to work with people. And so I think that that's pretty cool that I'm like offering my time for free.
Yeah, no, that is very cool.
Yeah, because I know it's not, I mean, it's not common, but anyways.
Well, you kind of got to start somewhere. I haven't.
Exactly, and that too. Like, I'm just starting up again. Like, I'm just testing out the waters, swimming above, you know? Because like, I was like, oh, let me just, because I basically restarted half a month ago, you know? So a little premature of everything, but I was like, okay, let me do this for 3 months, see how I go, see kind of where, because I was like, it is also just like a good creative outlet to, you know, and if other people see it and it resonates with someone without me any one-on-one working, then like, that's a win, you know? That was kind of my goal too, is like, okay, if I can help one person think that they can live without alcohol, great. That's great. Like, you know, and it's so cool seeing so many people all along the way. I was messaging somebody this morning. He got 2 years. I was like, oh, that's amazing. Like 2 years is huge, you know? So just like feeling and being there for people and kind of just being there for them along their journey too. And like, I don't know, it just brings you back. You're like, oh, so good.
Well, it's having beautiful. A retreat in Australia, I think that would be awesome.
It'd be so good. It'd be so good. And just like, there's like a Facebook page, and they do like just like mom walks and mom meetups. And I was like, oh, I could totally do like a sober mom meetup and event and like, you know, so just kind of figuring out how and what that process and execution actually looks like. Like I'm just trying to take it one step at a time and not get ahead of myself because my husband he believes in me and he knows that I can do anything, but he's also like, you take on all these things at once and then you're scatterbrained. So, which is true. And I am a stay-at-home mom, so I do have both my kids and it is hectic. And my son doesn't sleep through and it's a lot, you know? So I'm in the back shed right now because I can hear one screaming. So
well, this is a good start. So that's awesome.
Yeah. So thanks for having me.
No, it's awesome.
Yeah, like I do think too that I wanted to like show people because I think a lot of people in the rooms and like in AA still think like once you leave, like it's just a downward spiral, you know, and like, or like you're really dry and like, I don't know, just like all of that stuff. And it's like, no, like I am doing amazing. Like I'm better than I've ever been. Like I do what I have to do. And I know, and I've always had my husband to ask like, hey, how am I going? Like, and he's honest with me. Like he's a great guy. He's like, oh, you're a little like on edge. You're a little all over the place, you know? And I kind of bounce it off. But I remember repeatedly after I left, I was like, am I okay? Like, do you think I'm okay? Like, I don't want, like, I want to be self-reflective. Like, I don't want to be this crazy person, you know? And that's just like, yeah, I'm not drinking, but I'm a psycho. Like, no, that is not what I want, you know? And, like, I just want to help people to understand like you can still do a different version and still be healthy and like I go to Pilates and strength train every morning. Like I have different goals and different aspects of my life. Like there's so much I can do and do because I'm alcohol free. Like and I feel my body and like I am present with my kids. I think that's like the number one thing is I would not have my family if I was not sober, you know, and that just it's like, it's never even like a thought in my mind. Like, no matter how much anxiety, no matter what we go through, or like, you know, there's been hard times over the years. Like, of course, like it's life, you know, and it's just like not even, luckily, I have not dealt with significant loss of any sort. So I've not felt excruciating pain that I've heard could make, you know, so like I am blessed. Like, and I will say that, you know, I'm not going to sit here and, like I've been through the hardest times and I've stayed sober. No, but like I've dealt with life on life's terms and like it's all good.
Yeah. It's easier to deal with stuff. So
100%. Oh my gosh. I can't honestly like the thought even right now just is like, oh, it makes me like, like gives me anxiety thinking about what my life would look like if I started drinking today. Like, oh, nightmare. Anyways, it's good. This is so good. It makes me like think about it and like, you know, because I also do like the reason I came back is I was like, I do want to start putting my sobriety, you know, first and foremost again, because like, you know, it's the kids, oh man, you know, kids, like young kids, like it's all consuming. So it is good. It's like, it reminds me, it keeps me accountable, it keeps me in check, it keeps me.
Yeah.
So helping others and helping myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Giving back what was so freely given. So yeah, no, it's good. It's good.
I appreciate you being on here. Thank you so much.
If today's episode hit home, you're not alone and you're not broken. You're waking up. If you're ready for more honesty, more clarity, and more real talk, make sure to follow, share, or leave a review. And if no one told you today, you're powerful AF. Catch you next time on Alcohol-Free Superpowers.